All right, so let's talk about pitching. I think people make pitching harder than it needs to be. I've been calling pitches for 24 years, and every year I only get more and more aggressive with the fastball. And let me be clear, you don't have to throw one fastball by somebody to have success. But what you do need to do is throw the ball over the plate. The reason I call pitches isn't because I feel like I have some magic formula. It's just to keep it simple. You'll hear a lot of people say, I like to pitch backwards. And that works at times. But more times than not, when you start a batter off with an off-speed pitch, it's going to lead to a 1-0 count. The first pitch of the at-bat is the most important pitch because it sets the tone for the rest of the at-bat. When you get yourself in a 1-0 count, there's no ambiguity. You're more than likely going to have to come back with a fastball, and the hitter's got the advantage. Just as a general rule of thumb, pitchers do not have as good a command with their off-speed pitches that they do with their fastball. And you want to be as efficient as possible. In an ideal world, you want to only throw 3 pitches or less. I try to get through the first inning without even throwing any off-speed. And in an ideal world, try to get through the first time through the order without throwing any off-speed. Now, in saying that, sometimes that can change by maybe the third batter. Let's say the first pitch of the game, we throw a fastball, guy gets a single. I'm coming right back with that fastball. And say the second batter gets a single. Okay, now we got a 3-hitter up with 2 guys on. Now we might have to change it. But let's say we get through that first inning and first time through a lineup, and let's say we have a 3-0 lead, 4-0 lead. We're only going to keep throwing that fastball. There's no need to change. And that's a general rule of thumb. The more of a lead we have, the more aggressive we're going to be with the fastball. I believe you want to make that fastball your default pitch. Throw it until you can't throw it anymore. And if we are going to give up a hit, I'd rather it be on a first pitch fastball because we're only throwing 1 pitch. And especially that first time through the order, the guy hasn't seen any off speed yet. Because maybe when that third time he gets up, there's going to be 1 out and bases loaded. We want to save that off speed for as long as we can. Keep that in our back pocket. I mean, I've seen so many times offensively where, let's say, a team jumps out to a 2-0, 3-0 lead against us. Our first 2 batters on our team get out. They start our 3-hitter off with a curveball, and I'm thinking to myself, why? Most high school pitchers only have 2 pitches. Everyone says they throw 3-4 pitches. They don't throw them effectively. So if that's the case, after 2 pitches, they're going to go with the curveball in the first pitch, probably throw a ball, and then come back with their fastball. So our 3-hitter has now seen everything they have after 2 pitches. Everyone is afraid to throw to contact, and they give these batters too much credit. Jokingly, I tell my pitcher sometimes, if I gave you $100 to give up a home run, you couldn't do it. I went through my team's stats over the last 10 years. Out of 236 games, we've given up 17 home runs. That is 1 home run every 14 games on average. And if you figure there's 100 pitches in a game, that's 1 home run every 1,400 pitches. Youth baseball isn't like the major leagues. In 2024, major league teams hit 1.12 home runs a game. There's about 146 pitches per team per game. So at the major league level, there's a home run about every 122 pitches, not 1 every 1,400 pitches. Just think about this. A lot of these high school players, they play on the same field for the most part, the same dimensions as these major league players. The major league fields in general are a little bit bigger. But point being, those are grown men, not skinny little 15-year-olds that can't even hit it out on batting practice. Just like any decision in baseball, you have to keep in mind, the score, the outs, the count. Where are you at in the lineup? Are you facing the 3 batter or the 9 batter? And where are base runners at, and who are they? Is it a leadoff batter on first base that typically has good speed? Or are you facing a 3-hitter with runners at second and third with first base open? And you take all those factors into consideration when you're calling pitches. I'm really not big on throwing 3-2 curveballs unless you have to. Maybe first base is open. Because, again, pitchers do not have as good a command with their curveballs as with their fastballs. And if I'm going to lose, I'd rather lose by giving up a hit. The rule of 63 states that if a batter puts a ball in play, there's a 63% chance that they're going to get out. As opposed to a walk, you have a 0% chance of them getting out. 100% chance of them reaching base. I'm not a math major, but I'd rather take a 63% chance of getting somebody out than a 0% chance. You know, young catchers and young pitchers, you'll see almost 100% of the time, they get no 2 count, they'll jump right to the curveball. And I've seen so many times on a no 2 count. You hang a curveball, base hit, or hit a guy on an 0-2 count. My general rule of thumb, in a perfect world, we get ahead with the fastball, then throw some off speed because we have some room to play with. Then come back attacking them with a strikeout with a fastball. And it's not that we're trying to throw fastballs by people, but you have better command. And we're trying to throw it on our terms in our location. If they get a hit, so be it. In theory, if you don't walk people and you play catch, teams should have to get 3 hits to score a run. To me, looking at pitching stats, the most important stat is walks per inning pitch. Because again, you cannot defend a walk. And in my estimation, the walk is the most underappreciated aspect of baseball. If you give up walks on the defensive side of the ball, you will lose. I am a very big believer at the high school level, you want to have fastball command. That's your bread and butter. A curveball that you can get me over. And a changeup. Ideally, I like to use the changeup as the number 2 pitch and have guys throw the curveball the least. I've seen games where our opposing pitchers, opposing teams, they'll throw 30, 40% curveballs. I've seen so many times where they walk our 9 batter on a 3-2 curveball to face the top of our lineup. Thank you. And don't get me wrong, I love a 2-seam fastball, but guys throw it way more than they need to. I had a pitcher years ago, we used to not get in arguments, but we would have discussions. And I hear a lot of young pitchers say this, oh, I like to throw my 2-seamer every pitch. You don't need to. We have a 5-run lead and you're facing the 9 batter. Just throw a 4-seam fastball over the plate. We don't need to walk a guy because you're throwing 2-seam fastballs. Because again, young pitchers, young catchers, they're thinking on every pitch is that I need a swing and miss. You don't. You just need to put the ball where we want it on our terms. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, subscribe, and share it with a friend.